Hello everyone, Megatronic here, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Transformers Timeline Hearts of Steel edition of Megatron and Bumblebee. Now firstly, I would like to apologize for lack of uploads. I've been working a good amount, and I just really haven't had anything to review that I think is really interesting. I've kind of been lazy and kind of just put off putting my collection up. I will get that out eventually, I swear, and same with the top few figures so far this year. Will be coming out in August. I apologize that it's been pushed back so far. And lastly, if you couldn't tell before, my Megatron is slightly customized. Now, he only has the first coat of silver, the first coat. If he has any scratches or the silver isn't fully pure and there's still some of that ugly gray plastic showing, it's only the first coat. I do apologize. I want to get this review out there before I put on the second coat. Now let's get started, and we're going to start off negative. So we're going to get Megatron out of the way first. And we're going to go straight on to Bumblebee. So, if you take into consideration how much this set cost, shipping applied, it was around 70 something dollars. Honestly, I think 76 something, I don't remember exactly, but for the price of this set, I could have easily gotten 86 Megatron from CMD store with the shipping. $14 shipping and a leader class figure compared to two lazily made deluxes. And I'm a little peeved, especially with Bumblebee, because the paint looks nice on this figure. They went all out. I wish they did that for Megatron, but he is painted all over, which I'm very surprised at. But this guy's proportions are so damn ugly. I would rather have a 86 Bone Crusher, again, compared to him. They went with long arms, a long torso, but then when they got to his lower body, they were like, yeah, we're making a mini-bot. He does not look proportionate at all, and it irritates me. Whenever I try and pose him around, it just bugs me. It really does, because like half of it looks even, he feels weird and he looks weird. End of story. The paint is really the main motivator behind getting him. He looks amazing, the paint and sculpted work. Don't get me wrong, but proportionately, no. His head is tiny. Like literally tiny compared to the rest of him. I don't know. He's not an awful figure, but he definitely needed to be worked on. Also, another nitpick is the weapons. This is tiny. If I blink, this is disappearing into the void. I don't understand why this is so small. This is like a core class gun. And I don't understand. The hammer looks nice, I will give it that, but he only gets like that little bit to grip on. So in some poses, it looks a little awkward because, you know, that should probably be coming through the bottom of his hand and he should be holding it a bit more like in the middle. I don't know. And it barely goes into his hand. His hands have a fairly loose grip on both his weapons, which sucks. And both his wrists don't really tab in on my copy. They also just flip-flap around when I'm trying to pose it. Speaking of the posing issues, this one is where it irks me. So, these are on the same pin as the knees. And they're supposed to tab into this square notch right here. And that little slit. That's supposed to tab in, right? You would think they would, but you see it pushes right back out. So whenever I go to bend the knee, okay, cool, bend it back, the entire thing goes with it, and I have to use my hand, and I have really bad OCD when it comes to these things, so I'm constantly trying to get that as lined up as possible. Then I'm looking at the other side, that's off put, and then I get irritated. The figure irks me. And this hasn't happened to me in a long time with a figure. And I don't know. For articulation, his head's on a ball joint. Does a little bit of a... Do a full 360. Can look up a tiny bit, look down a little tiny bit, do wiggle waggle. Arms. Go that far out, that far back, that far forward. Bicep rotation. 90 at the elbow, nothing at the wrist. Mind you, this is basically a Voyager class price. Waist rotation, but there's like a gappage and weird stuff there. Legs can go forward that far, back, full splits. Thigh rotation, you already saw the knee, can go a little bit over 90. Feet, all the way back, which is really nice. All the way forward, pretty much, if you want to transform it a bit, which is cool. And you get a good amount of ankle tiltage. It irks me. It irks me. Another thing that irks me. This panel, this one right here, comes off all the damn time when I transform it. It just flies off. I don't know why. For comparison, here he is with Prime. This makes Bumblebee look a lot more awkward because their torsos are about exactly the same in length. Hell, Bumblebee's is a bit bigger compared to Prime's. It's just, ugh. They should have just never done the waist section like that at all and like chopped up his arms a bit so they're a bit shorter. Would have been a bit better with it, but it just looks weird. I don't, ugh. And here he is a Starscream, because, you know, yeah. Now I'm going to put him into his train mode. And here he is in his little train mode, and that transformation, I'm going to be completely honest, is just entirely awful. He fights you essentially the entire way. You're constantly having to squeeze things past one another. And at least with my copy, the tolerances are weirdly out of whack. They're either pretty loose or ungodly tight to where I worry about breaking the figure. The main parts I'm talking about is this little section where the head has to go in. There's his head in there. You have to push that section into there. I don't think there's enough clearance in here for this to like comfortably get by, and I constantly have to force this into where it's supposed to go, and each time I have done it, it feels like I'm about to break the figure. Another thing is these snap right into place. These little notches kind of scrape up on the gunmetal. Over time, that's just going to scratch off the paint completely. Other than that, it looks nice in vehicle mode. It looks better than the robot mode, and the storage I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to move these after they're warped. That's how it came out of the box, by the way. You can place the hammer. Here's 2 notches and some tabs. I don't know how well. Tab there and a tab up there. And you can slide the hammer in. And you can slide the hammer in. Blood is rage baiting me. And there you go. And with the other weapon, these would tab. Or that would just, yeah, let's do that. Weapon storage is neat. There's the small gun. The hammer fell out again. So, yeah, weapon storage on this guy is actually pretty neat if it were to stay in and not come apart the entire time. So, yeah, let's go on to Megatron. And the one who is really the selling point of this set, to at least me, and the one who really deserved to have the entire paint budget, there's like no paint on this guy at all. The only paint, gunmetal, a little bit of red, a little bit of silver, a little bit of silver for the face, and more silver. Where it was factory applied, look how splotchy the paint apps are on those spikes. The factory did that, not me, by the way. Also right there. Really? I paid $70, a little over $70 for this set. And I get shitty paint. And probably one of the worst deluxe figures I've handled in a while. I like the Megatron, other than the paint. I don't know. I don't... This is the first time in a while where I'm kind of like, I really paid that much for this? Was this worth it? I don't know. I don't know. So let's get back on track, okay? Other than my custom paint, which once again, it doesn't look great because it's only the base coat. I have more coats to go with the silver. I really like this Megatron. I really do. I do have some nitpicks with it though. I wish he had wrist rotation. I wish his head was a bit larger so it would be more in scale with the rest of his body because it looks very shrunken down. And really, this is like me really reaching out. I wish he had an ab crunch because he looks cool, and I think he's my favorite. Bias aside, other than him being a Megatron, I think he's genuinely the best figure out of this entire Hearts of Steel line they have done. For comparison, here he is, Starscream, and here he is with Prime. So yeah, and he is a bit taller than Optimus, so I'm okay with that. People complaining about that, you need to chill out. Megatron's always been taller than Prime. But yeah, sculpting, everything looks nice on the figure. I really like the head sculpt, just albeit a bit small. Really love how the fusion cannon looks, and I love how it's on the hinge, so it can be on the forearm, or it can be on the side of the forearm. Really cool. I like that. It gets in the way, albeit sometimes when you're posing it. Other than that, it's okay. I like how they did the hip skirts. They look really cool, and they have lots of articulation. So full splits, big boot back, thigh rotation. Really stiff on mine. Weirdly stiff. Really, really deep knee bend, which is cool. Feet can go back a lot, and you do get a decent amount of ankle tiltage. Waist rotation. Arms can do a full 360. These wheels can hinge all the way up if you need. Bicep rotation. Do transformation. He has double jointed elbows. I don't know if my phone's dying. And he has a full 360 at the head. Look that far up, look that far down. So I'm all right with this Megatron. Like I said, I think he's the best figure out of all of these. And when it comes to transformation, he's the least frustrating. I didn't think the Optimus and Starscream were too frustrating, but this thing, that thing, oh, can't stand it. I can't. They ruined the Bumblebee, man. They ruined the Bumblebee. So, I want to get this guy into his cannon mode. And, yep. And here he is in his cannon mode, and honestly, it looks pretty alright. Like I said, the silver in this mode is a bit splotchy because it's only the first coat. So please take that into accountability for my customization of him. Looks alright. It's a very unique transformation for Megatron, but it works enough, and everything blends in, although it is him just all sprawled up. But, I mean, it works as the cannon mode, and I think him and Optimus probably have the best vehicle modes or him and Starscream have the best vehicle modes out of the four. I don't know. I really, really dig this Megatron, other than the all gray plastic and lack of wrist rotations. Yeah, let me bring in Bumblebee. Wait, let me do a little rant, because I know barely anyone's going to be watching the end of the video here. My final thoughts on this entire subline. Hasbro. These are overpriced deluxe classes, essentially at a Voyager class price point each, after taxes and everything is said and done. $140 for just right here. Think about that. $140. That's essentially $40 extra than you would get from just 4 deluxe class figures. You know, you would get a Voyager class pushed around in there somewhere. The only one I can really see I think the Starscream and Optimus set is way more value for your money. Starscream and Optimus both are not as infuriating and frustrating as the Bumblebee figure. I honestly think this Bumblebee figure is one of the worst deluxes I've handled in quite a few years. Honestly, the last figure that really kind of irritated me like that was Point Blank, and that was in Legacy Evolution. I just don't understand. There's no way that a person should be paying almost $75 for 2 deluxe class figures. There's no way. I don't care if it's special edition. Bumblebee has the most paint out of all these figures, mind you. Out of all these figures, they give it to Bumblebee. And they probably figured, hey, if we put that dog shit in a gift wrapped box, hand it to somebody, they're still going to be excited to open it, and they're going to expect something nice. Nope. I hate to be this guy when it comes to being more negative on reviews. I want to be positive. I think I was fair with Megatron, other than lack of gray. I think he's a pretty good deluxe class figure. All these guys, aside from Bumblebee, really should have been Voyagers. 100% would have been Voyagers. Sell them for maybe $10 more. Just boost up the budget to Voyager class figures and have Bumblebee in there as a deluxe, and maybe lower the cost as whoever he comes with. Secondly, I think Megatron and Optimus should come together, and then Starscream and Bumblebee, where I do understand they wanted to split out the 2 leaders and have, you know, the secondary characters also be in with the leaders, so you would buy both packs for, let's say, just Optimus and Megatron. I don't know. If you can find third-party mastermind creations for these guys, aside from Bumblebee, I believe he's a different company. He was released newer, and they never did a Megatron, but if you can get third-party mastermind creations for Optimus and Starscream and that third-party Bumblebee for cheap, 100% get them. Keep in mind, $140 here. I know I got my Thundercracker a few years ago for around $75. I've seen Optimus, the Mastermind Creations one, floating around on Mercari recently for $75. So that's already $150. That's only $10 more than what I paid for old third-party toys that actually felt cool, other than the plastic kind of feeling a little shady here and there. I don't know. Is this a musket? No. I only wanted this because I love Hearts of Steel designs. I had a third-party Mastermind Creations Thundercracker. I thought these would go great along with it on the shelf. And Bumblebee really, really turned my mood like upside down. I was content with Optimus and Starscream. Content. I was not impressed. I was not surprised. I was like, holy crap, this is cool. I was like, I'm burned out of $75. And when this set arrived, I was expecting it to be a little bit better than the other one. No. Bumblebee, like I said, is just a shit wrapped up in a gift box for like Christmas. You open it up, and there's just a stinking pile of shit right in there. It's painted up nice. The actual figure and quality of the figure, no. But that's about it. I'm done with the rant. So thank you all for watching. Do just try and avoid this set. Get it on discount if you can. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all next one. Bye.